The Chainsaw Man movie is now out globally and it's absolutely insane. The mind-numbingly stupid One Punch Man Season 3 drama continues. The ongoing fall season of anime is fairly weak overall, but we do have a small handful of highlights, and all is right with the world once again because a new Kyoto animation anime got announced. Welcome back to another episode of This Month in Anime. I am a bit late, but you guys know better than to expect any punctuality from these videos. What am I, a semi-professional YouTuber? Come on now. Make sure to subscribe and be punctual about it. Do it right now, don't wait for the video to end. Go on, do it. The subscribe button's right there, go for it. You can also become a member of this channel. Members get at least 2 exclusive videos per month, custom badges and emojis, shoutouts and more. Just go down there and press the join button. The Chainsaw Man movie, chainsawmanreze arc, Chainsaw Man but with bright colors, Chainsaw Man but not experimental according to IGN, whatever you want to call it, it came out the other day and as such, let's talk about it. Now, I saw this movie, a month back now I think, but the reason why I held off from talking about it for this long was because I wanted at least a chunk of the global fanbase to see it first. I believe the US and the UK, my biggest and third biggest demographics respectively, got to watch this movie very recently, while Canada, my 5th biggest demographic, still hasn't seen it. Correct me if I'm wrong though. Anyway, that's enough yapping, let's get to it. The movie was fantastic. As expected, it was absolutely jaw-dropping, a spectacle in every sense of the word. I won't talk much about the story here, it was fine, I liked it more than season 1. I remember liking a grand total of 2 story arcs from the manga and this was one of them, so no surprises there. Also, just for the record, the other arc I liked was the one with a certain snowball fight. The writing was fine, I liked Reze as a character, I liked her dynamic with Denji, the humor was quite obnoxious in my opinion, same as the rest of this series, but at least the movie wasn't too heavy-handed with it. The ending was great, it genuinely made me a bit emotional. I'm sure the phenomenal production value had something to do with that. Like I said, it was fine. The best thing about this movie, however, writing-wise, was the way it was arranged. Here's the thing, in my opinion, this particular story arc was perfect for a theatrical adaptation in terms of structure and pacing. It was arranged like a film with 2 acts of build-up and 1 big climactic third act. The scenes didn't overstay their welcome, the pacing was crisp, the movie did a fantastic job of dividing its runtime, assigning most of it to the scenes with the highest likelihood of being good, aka the school scene and the action. It was an enjoyable watch, no doubt about it. It felt like a movie, if that makes sense. The real highlight of this movie, however, was neither the writing nor the scripting, it was the production value, obviously. Being the theatrical sequel to a TV anime that was already movie quality to begin with, at least for most of its runtime, it was bound to look out of this world, and it did. It looked absolutely phenomenal. Now yes, I can't really talk about the visuals in detail since I don't have any footage to study and break down. I will do both of those things once the movie comes out digitally, but for now, I'll give you guys a general overview. Visually, the movie can be divided into 3 broad sections: the daytime scenes, the school and festival scenes, and the fight. The first of the 3, which included all of those coffee shop scenes, was the weakest one from the film, but that's fine because it kept building up. The animation here was subdued but ever present. Unlike the other 2 sections, the acting and artwork around this part was very technically impressive, but it wasn't overtly spectacular enough to be noticed by most. I think that's the best way of describing it. The second section was spearheaded by the one and only Takuya Ninuma, arguably the best character artist currently active, and it looked outlandishly good, so much so that I'm having a hard time deciding which looked better, it or the bombastic action that followed. Ninuma directed and storyboarded this section, and despite not being credited as an AD, his animation fingerprints were all over it, quite possibly because he animated a huge chunk of it himself. He basically crafted the visual identity of the scene from the ground up, and thank the Lord for that. The unique character art, the flawless acting, the horror-inspired storyboards, this entire section was completely and utterly mind-blowing. I can't do it justice with my words, you need to see it for yourselves. The third section was the action, and it was exactly what you'd expect it to be. If I'm not mistaken, I believe the fight was storyboarded by Hone, Yuzuru Tachikawa and Tatsuya Yoshihara, and they basically went nuts, getting rid of that weighty, grounded approach season 1 took and going full webgen Nakamura built goodness. Let me put it this way, it was like Sukuna vs Mahoraga in terms of animation and directorial philosophies, but 1, it was longer, 2, it was far more polished, and 3, the art direction and compositing around it was a lot better. If that doesn't sound attractive to you, I don't know what does. And that's pretty much it, a very good movie all around. I really enjoyed it. I think it's the theoretical upper limit to any Chainsaw Man IP, at least for me. Of course, as is customary with every popular project ever, fans online are exaggerating a bit. I saw a lot of people say it's the best looking anime movie ever. It's not. Redline exists, Kizumonogatari exists, Soshi's Ghost in the Shell exists, let's not get carried away. It was really good, but, and I know this is news to some of you, you can just say it was really good without following up with it was the best thing ever and nothing else comes close. That part isn't needed, trust me. Anyway, let's move on. One Punch Man Season 3, the festering cesspool of toxic drama that just keeps on giving and taking, giving me more reasons to hate anime fans and taking points from my sanity. As some of you may know, we had more One Punch Man drama recently, more One Punch Man controversy, more staff harassment, just all sorts of juvenile, misinformed, malicious nonsense that unfortunately the modern anime fanbase is known for. The crux of all of this drama ultimately boils down to the show not moving all that much outside of the action scenes, down to the non-action scenes predominantly consisting of still frames, down to a few instances of visible corner cutting. Ultimately, that's what all of this is about, and I just have to ask you guys this. Do any of you watch anime, like on a day-to-day, week-to-week basis? Do you lot actually watch anime, or do you just watch the Chainsawmans and the Freeruns of the world and call it a day? Because what One Punch Man Season 3 looks like is what 99.9% of modern anime looks like. This is the medium, this is the standard, like it or not, this is what normal is. Again, for the millionth time, One Punch Man was treated like an average anime by the producers, much like a Blue Lock or a Sakamoto Days was, and production progressed accordingly. Quality can't just materialize out of thin air. I know I'm repeating myself, but come on, for f***'s sake. I won't hyperfixate on individual people in this video. I won't rant about the likes of Nicholas Light TV and his whole deal, mainly because for creators like him, it's all about views and engagement. I seriously doubt he actually cares about the way One Punch Man looks. I will, however, talk about director Shinpei Nagai, who had to private his Twitter account and ultimately delete it because of harassment. That's the real issue, the fact that not only is a modern anime fan completely fucking clueless about both how anime productions work and what constitutes a good-looking anime, he or she is also extremely hostile, confrontational, and most importantly, fucking shameless. The modern anime fan isn't just wrong, he or she is confidently, loudly, and aggressively wrong. We've seen that time and time again. There's not much else I can add, really. I won't go on a spiel about how animators are real people who have to put up with miserable work conditions. If you are a viewer of this channel or just a sane, rational human being, you knew that already. I guess all I can say is Nagai deleting his Twitter was probably a good thing all around. He's a grown adult with a job. I think his time and energy is better spent making anime and hanging out with his friends and family. Withdrawing from the toxic cesspool filled with morons who can't be reasoned with, that is Twitter, is probably the best course of action. A bit more about the actual anime. The first 3 episodes weren't exactly visual masterpieces. The action in episode 2, obviously animated by Kenichiro Aoki because who else would it be, was solid, although far from Aoki's best, while the rest of that episode was very rough and broken, and episode 3 had a bit more action, including some stuff from the first trailer and some new stuff. Again, mostly animated by Aoki, although I wouldn't exactly call it polished. Here's the thing though, they are obviously stocking up for the latter episodes. None of the competent action guys associated with jcstaff have shown up yet outside of Aoki. Aoki's own contributions compared to season 2 have been quite minimal. We haven't seen any of that 3D 2D interaction Nagai talked about. They are obviously holding back for now, which is a clever move. Last impressions are usually stronger than first ones, just ask Blue Lock and Uzumaki. I'm looking forward to some of the upcoming episodes. The fall of 2025, not exactly the most promising season of anime ever, but we do have a few highlights / hidden gems. Let's go through them. My status as an assassin obviously exceeds the heroes. It's surprisingly good. I know it sounds like your typical isekai slop, and technically speaking it is, but it's also quite good. The plot has some intrigue, the characters don't feel like caricatures, the power fantasy element isn't obnoxious, the visuals are quite competent, it's genuinely a good show. I recommend checking it out. I know fantasy isekai isn't exactly the most respected genre of anime, but every once in a while it comes through with a winner, and I believe this is one such show. We also have My Friend's Little Sister Has It In For Me, another title that sounds like your typical trashy novel adaptation but is actually quite fun, minus some of that creepy stuff which I hope is just a visual gag. One thing I forgot to mention in my fall 2025 video, this show, the novel it's adapting, is actually written by Mikawa Ghost, the author of Days with My Stepsister, although the two titles are very different. Good show though, it's quite fun. And speaking of good novel adaptations, we have Chitose Is in the Ramune Bottle, a Yuji Tokuno-led drama. It's quite good and it does a decent job of balancing more mature plot points and a more high school-y rom-com-y drama. Also, the OP and DD look absolutely stunning, and in case you were wondering why, it's because director Yuji Tokuno has worked on a bunch of high-profile projects before, including Jujutsu Kaisen, One Piece, Yaiba, the list goes on, and many of the high-profile talent he worked with on these projects showed up here to help him out, which I think is quite cool. Besides those titles, shows like Dusk Beyond the End of the World, Touring After the Apocalypse, and Campfire Cooking Season 2 are quite enjoyable as well. I'd recommend checking them out. And that's it for the seasonal section. Let's now talk about Sparks of Tomorrow, the newest Kyoto animation project set to air next year. Holy fucking shit. I believe this project was announced all the way back in 2018 but got delayed due to the tragic arson attack back in 2019, but it's finally here and it looks amazing. The show will mark Minoru Ota's directorial debut, and good fucking god, the trailer looks incredible. The steampunk aesthetic coupled with the jaw-dropping, rich art direction marks a stylistic shift for the studio, much like a Violet Evergarden, and I can't wait, it's about to be incredible. They're just the best, aren't they, KyoAni? Top 1 bar none. And that's it. A special thanks to Note03, Ahmed, and the Gallus90 for becoming tier 3 members, and until next time.